So for those joining the recording, we might use a ball at a certain point today to roll our feet if you have a ball. And we're probably going to go to the wall at a certain point. So you want to have a place that you could put your legs up on if possible. So let's make our way over to our mats. And we're going to begin lying down. So find your way to the place. Now, sometimes if you have a cold or something, you might not want to be lying down as long. So you're always welcome to sit up instead, if that's your preference. But I'm going to suggest that we begin lying down today. And if you're more comfortable with something under your head, put something under your head. And I want you to really notice how it feels when you lie down, because there's this sensation of the body relaxing when it recognizes that feeling of the floor supporting it. And the spine will begin to align itself into its neutral spine position, especially if we really plant our feet. And if we envision the end of the spine, let's say the tailbone relaxing, and the sacrum relaxing, really feeling that solid connection to the floor underneath it. And then let that relaxation flow along the line of the spine, all the way to the base of the skull. So relaxing both ends of the spine. And if we consider the base of the skull as an extension of the roof of the mouth, we can invite the roof of the mouth to soften back towards the base of the skull. Invite the roof of the mouth to broaden out towards the sides of the upper palate, out towards the molars, and just envisioning that roof of the mouth expanding out further than the confines of the mouth, to the sides, to the back. So we're beginning in a relaxed body. So you may already have closed your eyes or softened your gaze. And as you're here with this relaxed spine, this neutral position of your spine, begin to invite a deeper breath into your body. Feel it flowing in through your nose or your mouth, expanding into your ribs and lungs. And then allow that breath to fully empty and release. And see if you can just focus your full attention, your full awareness on your breath. The feeling of your breath as it moves in. The feeling of your breath as it releases and empties all the way out. Not forcing it out, but just giving it the time that it takes to fully empty. Just diving fully into the experience of breathing deeply for a couple more rounds. So can we focus our mind on just the breath and nothing else? A thought may come in, but just kind of watch it go like a cloud moving through the sky rather than letting your mind follow that thought. Just let your thoughts just kind of float on by and just really inhabit the experience of breathing. And then start to let your breath become more natural, but continue to focus on your breath, even as it's coming and going more naturally, not as deeply. And those thoughts will arise, but rather than letting ourselves focus on our thoughts, we're just going to focus on our breathing. So we're cultivating mindfulness, paying attention. So now let your awareness move to just a checking in with how you're doing physically this morning, how your body's feeling physically, and how you're feeling mentally and emotionally. And as you recognize all that, I want you to consider what you're needing this morning and what you might want to offer yourself as we practice together for this next hour. You want to offer yourself a little love and compassion and empathy, a little encouragement. Maybe you just need a little softness, gentleness. Maybe you need some forgiveness, assurance. What do you need? Pick something, one or two things, and invite it in and breathe it in. And let's breathe it into our practice this whole hour together. Great. All right, so when you're ready, if you have something under your head, you might move it away. Let's lift our heads up and clasp our hands and let the weight of the head rest into the hands. So we're just holding the head a little bit off the floor, elbows wide. We'll take a breath in. And as we exhale, let's start to knit the low ribs into the belly and start to curl up head, neck, and shoulders. See if you can get those shoulder blades off the floor and look beyond your knees. And then inhale and release back. We'll do that again. Exhale, knit the ribs and curl up. And inhale and release back. This time we'll exhale and curl up. Let's take the right foot off the floor. As that knee comes up, we're going to cross over elbow to knee. And then we're going to lower that foot back down as we inhale the head back. We'll exhale and curl up and take the left knee up and come across elbow to knee. And then release that foot and inhale back. Again, exhale, curl up, right knee comes up. Left knee comes up, right elbow to left knee and lower down. And you know what I'm doing. We're alternating knees, coming up and twisting across and lowering down. So this time we're going to start the same way, twist across towards your knee, and then extend that leg out as you inhale the head back. Exhale, curl up, twist across, get that shoulder blade off the floor. Inhale, extend the leg as you go back. Exhale, curl up, twist across. Inhale, extend the leg. 2 more times. Exhale, we're knitting the ribs and then twisting across. Let's think about getting those ribs coming over towards the opposite thigh. And then release that foot. Let your head go all the way down onto your hands, onto the floor. Take a moment here. Relax everything. And then again, we're going to lift the head up. Let the weight of the head rest into the hands. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to curl up, knitting the ribs. Let's take the other foot off the floor and twist across, elbow to knee. And then extend that leg out as you inhale your head back. And again, exhale, curl up, twist across, extending the leg as you inhale back. And do a few more of those. Think about bringing the rib cage over towards the opposite thigh. Getting that shoulder blade off the floor. So don't really pull on your head so much as you're twisting your midsection across. And let's do one more like that. Twisting across. And then release the foot, release your head, release your hands. Let's just take our arms kind of out to the side. Actually, let's take the right leg. We're going to hug it in with our arms. And we'll extend the left leg out on the floor. So that left leg, I like to bounce the knee a few times and then find that leg really heavy and relaxed on the floor. And then the other knee, hug it in close. Lift that leg up in the air. Maybe slide your hands up the back of the leg. Let's circle at the ankle a few times. And circle the other way. You could lift your head up and get a nice stretch along the back of the leg if you feel like doing so, and take a breath. And then we're going to lower the head down. We're going to leave the leg up in the air, and now we're going to take our arms out to the side. We're going to do leg circles. So the goal here is going to be to keep the hips steady. So we're not rocking back and forth with our hips. The hips are going to stay solid. And we're going to breathe in and we're going to start to circle that leg across. Start with a smaller circle and then bring that leg out to the side. Exhale as it comes around and back up. So we're going to start with a smaller circle, inhaling across and then exhaling our way back up. And if you have a smaller circle, let's just continue. A smaller circle, it's going to be easier to keep the hips from rocking, rolling, or lifting. And then you could explore making that circle a little bit bigger. And if the hips start to rock and roll, you either have to engage the abdominals more to keep the hips from moving or make your circle a little smaller. So see, kind of explore, notice, feel how this is working. The core is engaging to keep the hips from moving. And that's what we want to do here. So we're going to inhale as we come across and exhale, coming back around. We'll circle in this direction one more time. And then we'll go the other way, taking the leg out to the side, circling it around, coming across and back up. So same idea, we can inhale as we go out to the side and exhale, bring it back up. Keeping those hips steady. Let's do one more time in this direction. And then we'll let that foot come back down. We'll change legs. Let's hug the other knee in, sliding that first leg out, maybe bouncing the knee, and then letting that bottom leg be heavy on the floor, even as you hug the other knee in. Then lifting that leg up in the air, holding behind the leg. Let's circle it around a few times at the foot, circling the ankle, and then circle the other way. And then slide your hand up the leg, lift your head up towards the leg if you like. A stretch in the back of that leg as you breathe in and out. And then lowering your head down, releasing your arms out to your side. It can be nice to put a little point in the foot here. And then we're going to circle the leg around and down and then out to the side and back up. So you determine the size of your circle such that it's challenging to keep the hips from moving, but you're able to do it. You're able to keep your hips from lifting or rocking or rolling. And then the breathing is inhaling as you circle across and then exhaling to bring it around. Couple more. Next time your leg comes up, we're going to change the direction of the circle. We'll take that leg out and circle it around and down, and then come across and bring it back up. So we can inhale as we go out, and then exhale as we start to circle back up. Couple more in this direction. Really activating those muscles that brace, that support the movement of the leg. Next one will be our last one. Great. And we can bring that foot to the floor. Let's bring both feet to the floor and roll to the side. As we come onto our side, we're going to come up onto this bottom forearm. We'll get that elbow right under the shoulder. We'll try not to collapse into that shoulder, but we'll create some space there. We'll stack our knees kind of on an open angle, so they're not straight out in front, kind of angled a little bit away. We can place our other hand on our hip, and we're going to press into the bottom leg to lift the hips up, and then we're going to activate the side waist to give it a little more lift here. And then we're going to lower down. We could come all the way down and take a little break, or we could just come down and hover close to the floor. So maybe you come all the way down, maybe you just come close to the floor. And we're just going to go up and down here, kind of activating that bottom side waist to lift the hips up and then lowering back down. And we're putting some weight on that bottom forearm. We're creating a little strength in the shoulders, across the shoulder girdle. So we could have one hand on the hip. You could also have this arm up in the air. Either way is fine. Let's do a couple more. Just make sure you're breathing here, not holding your breath. And the next time we come up, we're just going to hold it up. Maybe see if you come up a little bit higher and then lower down. Great. We're going to swing our legs out in front and come around to the other side. Same thing on the other side. We're going to get this forearm, elbow right under shoulder, and then creating some space, shoulder to ear, open angle of the knees, hand on the hip. And we're going to lift the hips up, and then you can come down, take a break, or just come close to the floor and lift them up again. So let's really get that side waist working to lift those hips up nice and high. You could have your arm up in the air, lifting up and lowering down. You might exhale as you come up, inhale as you go down. Let's do two more. And this time as we come up, let's hold there. Could we lift a little bit higher? Great. And then come all the way down. Let's come on to all fours now. And as we arrive here, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders, take a moment to feel your spine. Can you find a little greater length, maybe in the back of the neck as you look down at the floor? We'll take a breath in here. And as we exhale, let's start to round the low back, the mid back, the upper back, letting the head drop down as we push our hands down and broaden across the upper back. And then we'll come to our flat back. And then let's start to arch, tipping the tail up, dropping the belly and chest, pulling the heart forward, looking forward, breathing in. And then we'll just flow between those two movements a couple more times, moving in any way that feels nice for your spine. We're just kind of waking up our spine here. You might try some side to side movement or some front and back movement. Just kind of individualize this movement in a way that feels nice and supportive for you. And then eventually transitioning back to your flat back. Let's go ahead and sit back on our heels, dropping into child's pose. And you can support your head with your hands or let your head come to the floor and take a moment here to check in, breathing into the back of the lungs, maybe breathing in what we're focusing on this morning and allowing a nice deep exhale here. And then with your next inhale, lift your head up. I want you to reach your arms way out in front of you. Have your hands about as wide as your shoulders. And then we're going to start to lift the hips up off the back legs. And I want you to place your forearms down. So as best you can, try to get your hands, your wrists, and your elbows in line with your shoulders. Some of us, the elbows are going to want to be wider, and that if that's how your shoulders are, that's fine. They can be a little wider, but just kind of work to hug them in closer. So best we can, we got our hands on the floor. We got our forearms on the floor, and there's a line from like your middle finger to your shoulder. And then can you from here start to straighten your arms? So you're straightening your arms, so you're lifting up a bit, and then could you come back down onto those forearms? And then straighten your arms. So if we have restriction in your shoulders, this can be quite challenging. You might need to widen things a bit, and that's okay. Just be careful if you have some shoulder restriction. This might work to tease apart a little bit of that restriction and start to strengthen the back of the shoulders. So let's go up and down, maybe one or two more times. Breathing in as you go up, breathing out as you come down. And after this last time, after you come down, then we're going to sit back into child's pose again. And you might want to take your arms alongside your body as your head comes to the floor. You could drop a block under your head, or you could support your head with your arms if that's better for you. Let's breathe in and out here. Now lifting our heads up, let's reach our arms out again and make our way to downward facing dog. So really feeling our hands, fingers, thumbs connecting to the mat as we take the hips up and back, broaden across your upper back. Let your head dangle. Let's bend a knee and press a heel down. And bend that knee and press the other heel down. Maybe alternating again, if that feels good for you. And then we'll bend both our knees a bit, draw the hips way up and back. Take one more deep breath in and out here. And then walk your hands back towards your feet, lowering your heels down, ending up, fold it over, soft bent knees. Take another breath into your upper back. Allow that breath to release and empty. Then draw your belly in and begin to roll yourself up. Take some time to slowly stack your spine, vertebra by vertebra. Just feel your spine unfurling. As you start to come more upright, really root down through your feet. As your head starts to lift, take your arms out, broaden. Inhale, reach up and overhead, lengthen. And we'll exhale our arms down at our sides. Great. So I suggested we have a ball. I thought it might be nice to roll our feet a little bit with a ball. You can do this sitting in a chair or standing. You might want to have a wall to hold on to. But let's just loosen up our feet a little bit. I just noticed myself this morning that my feet were feeling like they could use a little massage. And so I thought we'd throw this in because chances are anything one of us is feeling, there's a good chance another one of us is feeling it, right? So there's always benefit to self-massage. You know, it just feels good. And so let's really focus on what we're feeling, because massage can be a practice of mindfulness too. Self-massage, like focusing on how it feels to loosen up the bottom surface of the foot. If you didn't have a ball, you could just be working your thumbs into your foot, kind of loosening up the sole of your foot with your hands, sitting in a chair or sitting on the floor. But just spend a little more time on that first foot, just trying to soften up the bottom surface of your foot. And then we're just going to finish up on this foot. And before we start the second foot, we're going to stand with our feet underneath us. And notice how that foot feels. Does it maybe feel a greater connection to the floor beneath it? And even check in to see if there's any greater ease in that side of your body as a result of softening the bottom surface of your foot. Just notice for a breath. And then you can tell with my shirt that that side of my body is a little more dropped down. So now we'll do the other side. So again, whatever sort of movement works for you, but our goal here is to kind of soften the bottom surface of the foot. So let that ball be a tool of massage. It kind of works into that surface. You are in charge of how much pressure you put on. And you, by focusing, can really notice what areas feel tight, maybe need a little more, a little less. Keep breathing as you're doing this. Look at what you're doing. Feel what you're doing. Notice what you're doing. Sometimes it's a little painful, but sometimes it kind of feels good to just work those tender areas. We'll just spend a little longer on the second foot. And then we're going to stand. and see what we find, what we notice. Does that foot now feel that strong connection to the floor? And has that created any greater ease in that side of the body? Really a simple technique to do that, to create ease in the body. So great. All right, so coming back onto your mat, starting with our feet right beneath us, that really solid foundation, rooting down to stand tall, cultivating that nice, elegant, upright posture. So from here, let's rock to the balls of the feet and just lift the heels up. So we're kind of balancing on the balls of the feet, and you might be wobbling or falling over a little bit. That's okay. And then we're going to lower back down. If you feel like you want to have a chair or a wall nearby to do these things, grab onto something by all means. We're going to lift those heels up, and then we're going to lower them down. One more time, lifting the heels up. Get up as high as you can. Maybe feel how the calves, the ankles are working, and then lower back down. Now take your feet a little wider. So maybe your heels are about as wide as your hips, and your toes could be angled out a bit or more forward, whatever feels better for you. And same thing, lift your heels up and then lower them down. And you might find that your heels kind of, things wing out to the side and stuff. That's okay. We're just like working on building strength in the feet and the ankles and the lower legs. Really the whole leg is working. And then lower down one more time, coming up nice and high. And then lowering down. And then we're going to take it even a little bit wider. And we're going to lift the heels up. And we're going to lower the heels down. And lift the heels up. And lower the heels down. So now I want you to bend at the hips and knees, kind of like our sumo that we do, the knees tracking in the direction of the toes. And then here with bent knees, bent hips, lift your heels up nice and high and lower them down. And do that again, lift your heels up nice and high and lower your heels down. Great. Let's go ahead and straighten our legs. So we're going to bring the feet in again. So the heels are about as wide as your hips. And we're going to bend at the hips and bend at the knees. And then can we lift the heels up nice and high and lower the heels down. And do that again. Lift the heels up nice and high and lower the heels down. And then we'll straighten. And then can we do that with our feet right beneath us? We're going to bend at the hips and the knees. We're going to lift the heels up and lower them down and lift the heels up and lower them down. Great. All right. Hopefully you feel like you worked your lower leg. Let's make our way to the front of our mats. And we're going to stand in mountain here, rooting down to stand tall. And then we'll reach the arms out. Inhale and reach them up. As we exhale, we'll swan dive forward. Bringing our hands to the floor. We'll make our way back to downward facing dog. Now you could drop to knees and then go back to down dog, or you could just make your way to down dog. If you're dealing with some shoulder stuff today and feeling like that's too much weight on your shoulders, you could use a chair here and be in down dog with your hands on a chair, pulling the hips. Either way, hands on the chair or hands on the floor. We're going to pull those hips up and back as we breathe in and out. And then we'll lower to straight arm plank. So our plank can be with knees off or knees down. But let's get nice and long from knees to ears or from heels to ears. We'll take a breath. As we exhale, let's try bending the elbows a bit. Elbows pointing back towards the feet. What often happens here is the hips drop down, so keep them from doing that. Take another breath. And then let's make our way all the way onto belly, coming into prone mountain, letting that chest sink into the floor as we slide the heels of the hands back a bit. So we're hovering our chin and nose just off the floor as we're reaching back through the toes and lengthening through the crown. Let's slide the shoulder blades up and then slide the shoulder blades down And then let them land right in their sweet spot, a little looser up here now. From right between the shoulder blades, start to lift the chest up and then start to pull the heart forward as you press the heels of your hands back. So you're lengthening. So we don't need to come up real high here in this baby cobra. We keep the neck long and we just kind of create length and extension. And then we'll lower back down. So some people might, depending on the state of your back, you might just want to hang out in prone mountain. You might want to come up into baby cobra, so we can do that again. Or you might want to come up a bit higher into cobra, pushing a little more down to straighten your arms a bit more. So what feels right for you, and then lower back down. Let's try either from prone mountain or from baby cobra, lifting the elbows up and hugging the elbows in to really squeeze and work those muscles across the upper back, and then release the hands and release the chest. So from here, as we're prone, can you take a breath in, and on your exhale, can you knit your ribs into your belly like we do usually on our backs? And with that support, start to push your arms into the floor and lift up onto knees, so that that support of knitting the ribs is keeping you in neutral spine. You're not dropping into a back bend here. And then lower your chest back into the floor. So we'll take a breath in, exhale and knit the ribs into the belly. Feel that support as you push up onto your knees. And then lower back down. We're going to do that one more time. Take a breath in. With your exhale, knit the ribs up and in, and then push up onto knees. Great. And then take your hips back to child's pose. Sit back on your heels. You can walk your hands in and let your head rest on your hands. Or your arms could be at your side or out in front. Nice deep breath in and out. Nice time to check in. And then with your next inhale, lift your head up, reach your arms out, make your way to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. So option to drop to your knees and step your right foot out in front, or take your right leg up in the air as you breathe in. Bend that knee, draw the knee up and in, look forward and step that foot through to lunge. So we've made our way into a right foot forward lunge. We're going to let the hips sink down as we're here. If you want to have a chair to hold on to support you here, that's fine too. We're going to go into externally supported lunge. So we're going to bring our forearms onto the front thigh. Now we can really press back through the heel as we lengthen through the crown. We could stay here, or we could bring our hands to heart for internally supported lunge. And again, we're finding length from heel to crown. And from here, we're going to move into a twist. So we'll take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to twist to the right in the direction of that front leg. Twist around. Your hands could stay to heart, or your elbow could go to the outside of the knee to deepen that twist. Bring yourself around as far as your body wants to twist, and breathe in and out. Then unwind yourself and bring your hands back down and step back, or go to your knees and back to down dog, or just step back to down dog. And breathe in and out here. And then again, you could drop to your knees and step your left foot out in front, or lift your left leg up in the air. Then bring that knee up and in and step that foot out in front. Get into your low lunge. And from here, we're going to move to externally supported lunge. Forearms on that front thigh. Get nice and long from heel to crown. If you like, transition to internally supported lunge. Take a breath here. As we exhale, we're going to twist to the left, rotating that around that line of your spine. Hands could stay to heart, elbow to go to the outside of the knee if you like to deepen that twist. Breathe in and out here. And then unwind yourself. Bring your hands to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Lower to straight arm plank or kneeling plank. Maybe try a little bend in your elbows, and then lower yourself all the way into the floor. Find that length, toes to crown. You could stay in Pro Mountain. You could inhale up to Baby Cobra. You might come up into Cobra. We'll exhale back down. And we'll make our way up and back to Downward Facing Dog. Breathing in and out here. Again, we're gonna either kneel and step the right foot forward or lift the right leg up in the air. Draw that knee in and step that foot through to lunge. From our low lunge, we're going to press into the front foot and straighten up, straighten that front leg. Take a breath in here. Exhale and bend the front knee. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and bend. Inhale and straighten. This time we'll exhale and bend and we'll stay here. Let's drop the arms down, sweep them forward and up and overhead. Nice big breath as we stretch up. And then we'll exhale our hands down. Make our way back to Downward Facing Dog. Breathe in and out here. And then again, from the knees, we could step the left foot forward, or left leg comes up. And we draw that knee up and in and step that foot through to lunge. Once we've made our way into our lunge, we're going to push into the front foot to rise up, straightening that front leg, hands to hips. We'll take a breath in here. Exhale and bend the front knee. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. One more time. Inhale to straighten. Exhale to bend. And then dropping the arms, let's sweep them forward and up and overhead. Big breath in as we reach up. And exhaling our hands down. One more time back to down dog. Breathe in and out here. Again, let's walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering our heels down. Ending up in this forward fold, we're going to bend the knees and lower the hips. We're going to sweep our arms out in front, sitting back in our low chair. We might keep our arms forward, or we might reach them up alongside the ears. Let's breathe in and out here. And then we'll push down into the feet and legs. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And we'll exhale our arms down at our sides. All right, let's come into our wide stance. We're going to turn the left foot in and turn the right foot out. Hands on hips. Let's bend the front knee and straighten it. So let's make sure our feet are planted, weight in the outer edge of the back foot, as well as the inner edge. And then the next time the knee is bent, pause here. We're going to tip over from our center, letting this bottom arm come on that bottom leg. Let's take the other arm forward, and we're just going to open that up toward the ceiling. So nice long line from the elbow to the shoulder. Again, space between the shoulder and the ear, broad across the chest and back. So right now we're looking forward. I want you to keep your head forward, but turn your gaze up toward the ceiling. And then let your head follow your gaze. This is working the cranial nerves here. And then with your head looking up, turn your gaze back towards your device. And then let your head follow your gaze. Yeah, this is interesting work, I find. So now with your head forward, looking forward, turn your gaze to the floor. And then let your head follow your gaze. And last one, your head is looking down. Let your gaze turn towards your device. And then let your head follow. All right, reach up with your top arm and straighten your front leg. Breathe in and bring that arm down. Bring your feet forward. We'll do that all on the other side. Right foot turns in, left foot turns out. We're going to bend and straighten the knee. So this cranial nerve stuff, I gotta confess that I'm not an expert. on how it all works. But it's the effect of working with the cranial nerves has the tendency to help us feel more centered, less anxious. So let's bend the knee. Let's tip over and let this forearm rest on the front thigh. We'll take this top arm in front and open it up toward the ceiling. So create a lot of space and length from that bottom elbow to that top hand. So right now our gaze is forward. Keep your head as it is and just let your gaze look up toward the ceiling. And then let your head follow your gaze. Now with your head facing the ceiling, turn your gaze towards your device. And then let your head follow your gaze. Great. With your gaze, with your head facing forward, let your gaze turn towards the floor. And then let your head follow your gaze. And last one, with your head facing the floor, let your gaze turn back towards your device. And then let your head follow your gaze. Good work. All right, reach up with your top arm and straighten and come up. Nice. Let's turn the feet forward. Let's take the arms out and up and overhead. Big breath in. And then we're going to swan dive forward to flat back. You can soften your knees and come all the way down. And then walk your hands a little forward and take your hips back. So there's very little weight on your hands and arms, but there's a nice stretch in the back of your legs. Your knees can be as bent as you like, or you could straighten the legs a bit and get a nice stretch in the back of the legs. Breathe in and out here. Then walk your hands back beneath you. Then bring your hands to your hips. You might want to keep a softness in your knees, but push down into your feet and legs and come halfway up as you breathe in. Pause here and release your breath. And then again, push down to come all the way up. Great, and then walk your feet in or jump your feet together. So now I'd like us to come down to the floor. We haven't done this in a while. We're gonna do variations of headstand. So I used to love to do headstand, but I've got some issues with my neck nowadays that make me feel like putting all the weight of my body on my neck and my head is maybe not beneficial. So if you want to come all the way up into a full headstand, you're welcome to go to a wall and put your head an arm distance away and then clasp the back of your head. But I'm going to demonstrate how to do it without taking your legs all the way up in the air. So before we begin, you know, you've all been with me a while, we would oftentimes put a block on our head to kind of find the place where you would balance a book on your head, because that's the place, that's the part of the head that we want on the floor. We don't want this forward part of the forehead or the back of the head on the floor. We want that place where the three parts of the skull connect, where you would balance a book. That's the part of our head we want on the floor. So kind of take a moment to feel where that would be, where you would place that book if you were going to balance that on your head. And then you can go right to putting your head there, or you can watch me if you're not sure what we're doing. So we're going to place that part of our head on the floor, and then we're going to clasp our hands so that we're cradling the back of our head, and then we're sliding the hands down so the pinky side rests on the floor, and you can slide the bottom pinky under. So we begin here, and we have our knees on the floor. And so there's very little weight on the head, but you're still having that opportunity to ground the center of your head, to feel the connection of the center of the crown of your head connected to the ground. And there's benefit there. If we want to add a little weight, we would curl the toes under and lift the hips up. So now we're placing a little more weight on that part of the head. So there's no finger between your head and the floor. Your hands are just cradling the back of your head. If you wanted to add a little more weight, you could walk your feet a little closer so you're stacking your hips more directly over your head. And then if you were at the wall now, you would take one leg up and you might take the other leg up, and there you are in your headstand. Or maybe you can freestand, practice your headstand, which is fine too. So wherever you are, you might want to stay a bit longer. At any point, you could put less weight. You could drop to your knees if that's too much weight. So let's just take a couple more breaths here, enjoying this experience of grounding through the center of the crown of the head. And there is some weight on your forearms too. And the more you push down with your forearms, the more you can take a little weight off of your head and neck. So take one more breath if you're still here. And then start to transition out of your headstand. And then make your way to child's pose so that your forehead is supported. Your neck has some support. Spend a few moments, a few breaths here in child's pose. Just breathing. Maybe noticing how you feel. Sometimes that experience of being upside down, of grounding through the crown of the head can be a fairly visceral feeling, something that's deeply felt or experienced. And then when you're ready, you can lift your head up. All right. So here's where I'd like us to go to the wall and or a door. If you don't have a wall or a door, you could just put your legs up on a chair. But if you have a wall or a door, go right up next to it, sit up sideways to it, and then roll down onto your back. Put your legs up on the wall. And so you end up with your bum close to the wall, but probably not touching a comfortable distance, so it's not uncomfortable for your hamstring. And you know, your fingertips might be grazing the wall, you might be a little bit further away, depending on how long your arms are. And then as you're here, you have your heels on the wall, your feet are kind of dropped back towards the room. Separate your feet about as wide as your hips. Take a moment to just, like we did at the beginning of class, relax your tailbone and relax all along the spine to the base of the skull. And take a breath. All right. Now I'd like you to begin pushing your heels into the wall so that your hamstrings wake up and fire. Imagine you're clawing your heels down toward the floor so there's a little bend in the knees. There's a lot of action in the legs. And then with the strength of the legs, start to peel your spine up off the floor. Vertebra by vertebra by vertebra by vertebra. So you're coming up kind of like you would into a hip bridge with the weight up onto your shoulders. Take a breath when you're up there. And as you exhale, lower yourself down very incrementally, releasing vertebra by vertebra by vertebra, best you can. And strong legs supporting you, even as you're moving from your mid back into your lower back, trying to articulate as best you can until you finally release the sacrum. And then once you're down, let everything relax. So we'll do that together again, pushing heels into the wall, clawing the heels down, then starting to peel your spine up off the floor. Once you start to lift up, just look up at the ceiling. Don't have your head turned to the side. Bring the weight up onto your shoulders. Take a breath at the top. And then take however much time you like to roll back down. Trying to create a little mobility in the spine here, loosening things up a little bit to counter some of the stiffness that accumulates along the spine as we roll ourselves down. And then once you've made your way all the way down, let everything relax. So at this point, we have some options. You could just decide to hang out here with your legs up the wall, which is a nice restorative pose. You could roll up and down a few more times like we've just done. Or if you'd like to practice shoulder stand, I'll guide you through that. So you would start the same way, pushing up and up and up until you bring the weight up onto your shoulders. And then you might clasp your hands and kind of squeeze, hug your shoulder blades in closer to each other And then your arms are closer as well, so you could bring your hands onto your low back, fingertips pointing toward the ceiling. And then if you feel that enough support, you might take one leg or both legs off the wall, finding your way into shoulder stand. So it's best not to turn your head as you're doing this. And so you've got some weight on the back of the upper arms. And you just got your gaze up. Those legs are kind of angled back. We don't go for a straight up and down shoulder stand. We want a little angle. And you're just going to breathe easy here. And some people really enjoy this feeling of this inversion, the blood flowing back to the heart. You may want to stay here a while. You also may decide that you're ready to come out at any time. And to do that, you can take your legs to the wall and roll down. So we'll stay here for a couple more breaths, or maybe you're rolling up and down, or maybe you're just hanging out with legs up the wall. You are still in shoulder stand. I'd suggest taking your legs to the wall and rolling down, or bringing your knees to your nose and rolling out, or you might reach your feet overhead into plow, and then release your arms, and then roll out slowly, gradually, incrementally, just like we were doing before, trying to articulate best we can, until we end up with our legs up the wall. We'll take a breath or two here. And then with your feet coming down onto the wall, go ahead and push yourself away. Give yourself enough room that you can roll to your side and push yourself up. We're going to come back onto our mats, and I'd like you to sit. And I think most of us would benefit from maybe sitting up on something, or maybe not. I mean, you could just sit on the floor, or you could sit up on something. Let's bring our feet together and let our knees drop open. Finding a bound angle here, maybe pressing the feet in and pressing the knees apart as we sit up nice and tall. And take a breath. And then let's go ahead and cross our legs. And whatever comfortable, if it's not comfortable for you to cross your legs, you could also have your legs out in front. You could also go ahead and sit in a chair if that would be more comfortable for you. We're just going to do a seated twist. So let's take one hand behind on the floor behind us and the other arm across. And we're just going to spiral around in the direction of that arm that's behind. So spiraling ribs, chest, shoulders, letting the gaze follow, and then taking a deep breath in and out. And then we'll release back around to center. We'll go the other way. Other hand goes behind, other arm comes across, and we're just going to spiral around in that direction. Ribs, chest, shoulders, head and neck. And then a deep breath in and out. And we'll release back around. Let's just try that with our legs crossed the other way. So you always cross one and then the other. So try crossing the other way. And then we're going to start with the side that we finished with. So that second arm goes behind, other arm comes across. We're going to spiral around. We're going to breathe in and out. And we're going to unwind. We're just going to go all the way around to the other side. One arm goes behind, other arm comes across. Spiral around in that direction. And a nice deep breath in and out. And releasing back around. Nice work. All right, we're going to make our way into our final relaxation. So this is your opportunity to make sure that you're warm enough. You might need a layer, you might need a blanket to cover up or to put under your head. You might feel better with a little support under your knees. So set yourself up to be nice and comfortable. And then make your way to lying down. going to give ourselves the gift of relaxation. We're going to allow our bodies to receive some of the benefits of this practice. Those muscles that we were working can now relax more deeply than they would have otherwise. So let the floor hold you as you rest back into that support. Allow the weight of your body to soften and settle and release. Feel a sense of letting go, dropping. Letting the legs rest into the floor. Letting the muscles in the belly and the hips and the seat relax, release. Feeling the weight of the shoulders and arms resting heavily down. The palms, the elbows, the chest soften and open. Head resting back now so that the facial muscles can soften and smooth, release and relax. And as the body's relaxing, we let the mind do the same. Let the mind float freely as the body relaxes. This time is for you. Having an experience of relaxation. Nothing you need to do or change or fix. Allowing yourself to be just as you are. And you hold this natural you with a love, a kindness, an acceptance. No need to be better. No need to be different. Embracing yourself with love and acceptance for all that you are. Just as you are. Our theme for this morning was gratitude. And we feel a sense of appreciation and thankfulness for this body, this mind. They may not be a vision of what's perfect, but how incredibly fortunate we are to have these bodies and these minds. This chance to live our lives, to experience life. Such an amazing gift. So you may choose to stay relaxing and enjoying and appreciating for longer, and you're welcome to do so. You might close your device. Or if you're ready to transition, you might open your eyes, bring your feet to the floor, gently roll to your side, taking a moment or two to transition there. And when you're ready, you could push yourself up to seated, find a way to sit comfortably. Bring your hands to heart. Close out your practice with some final reflections. Maybe prayer, maybe gratitude. Appreciate you all for being here. Peace. And if you gotta go, you can go. I wanted to share this. I found a bunch of papers down here as I'm cleaning up a little bit, and this was something I shared a while back. But it's ideas for gratitude practice, and it starts with a quote that says, "Happiness is like jam. You can't spread even a little without getting some on yourself," which I thought was cool. And the 5 most important practices for gratitude that I highlighted here was, number 1, make a vow to practice gratitude. Research shows that making an oath to perform a behavior increases the likelihood that the action will be executed. Therefore, write your own gratitude vow, which could be as simple as, "I vow to count my blessings each day," and post it somewhere where you'll be reminded of it every day. 2, watch your language. Grateful people have a particular linguistic style that uses the language of gifts, givers, blessings, blessed, fortune, fortunate, and abundance. In gratitude, you should not focus out on how inherently good you are, but rather on the inherently good things that others have done on your behalf. 3, share your gratitude with others. Research has found that expressing gratitude can strengthen relationships. So the next time your partner, friend, or family member does something you appreciate, be sure to let them know. 4, go through the motions. Grateful motions include smiling, saying thank you, and writing letters of gratitude. By going through the grateful motions, you'll trigger the emotion of gratitude more often. And 5, keep a gratitude journal. Establish a daily practice in which you remind yourself of the gifts, grace, benefits, and good things you enjoy. Recalling moments of gratitude associated with ordinary events, your personal attributes, or valued people in your life gives you the potential to interweave a sustainable theme of gratefulness into your life. So there you go. In honor of Thanksgiving. So grateful for all you guys. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving week next week. If I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you in 2 weeks. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.